front, I can't go back again. I can never lose, but if I do, I'll never slack again. What was boring, now it's foreign when I'm back in it. Yeah, love what's happening, yeah, bitch, I'm back again. I've been running to the front, I can't go back again. I can never lose, but if I do, I'll never slack again. What was boring, now it's foreign when I'm back in it. Yeah, love what's happening, yeah, bitch, I'm back again. Not too simple, but I went and did this on my...
What's up, guys? It's Bri-C, and in today's video, we have ranked 35 El Primo from Showdown. As usual, we'll be going over some games, so sit back, get strapped, because we're heading right in. Alright, we're going to be heading into our first game. Now, I did this push mostly on Skull Creek and a bit on Stormy Plains as well. However, Primo is good on a lot of different maps. As long as there's tanks, Primo should be pretty decent. But as far as maps like this, these maps tend to be filled with a lot of Primos, like a lot. So if you're going to push Primo, I do recommend that you flush matchmaking to get some of those Primos out. You don't need to get all of them out. You just need to just reduce the amount of Primos from like 8 to maybe like 6, around that amount. It's going to be a decent amount. And basically all flushing is, people always ask me, there's no secret to it. You literally just play the game, right? As you play the game, as you play high trophy players, you're going to take them out of matchmaking, and eventually there's going to be no high trophy players left, and so you're going to get less Primos, because those are the main people that are pushing it that high. So it's not rocket science. There's no VPN. There's no secret. You literally just play the game. All right, literally just play the game. All right. So now, when you're pushing Primo, the main thing is going to be the beginning and the end. The middle does not matter whatsoever. The middle's kind of boring. The beginning, what you want to do, you get your cubes, and then you find your mutuals and charge your super. What I mean by mutuals is other Primos, and if there's no Primos, if for some reason there's no Primos, tanks will do, okay? If there's a good amount of Primos, you don't need other tanks, so you can kill them. All right, it's perfectly fine, and that's typically what will happen. But if there's not a lot of Primos, then you can go ahead and team with other tanks like Bull or Rosa. So again, if you're pushing other tanks, you're going to want to clear as well, because if you're playing early on, the Primos are not going to team with you. But if you're playing later, they're going to have to, because there's not going to be enough other Primos for them to team with. All right, so in the beginning, like I said, you get your cubes. All right, you charge supers, and when you're charging supers, always make sure you shoot one ammo, and then you back off. Okay, if you shoot more than if the person's trying to get 2 hits off of you, there's a good chance you can get backstabbed. So it's just 1 hit, back off. If they keep going, you chuck them. All right, you don't play that game. All right, because there's definitely a lot of snakes, very annoying players I've faced during this push. But we're not gonna talk about that. So you don't 1 hit. Right, if they start going in for more, you chuck them. All right, you don't play that game, and you move on from there. If some person doesn't know what they're doing, you can get an early kill. Especially if you're playing with a lot of Primos, if you can get an early kill off, that's going to be a great help. So, if 2 people try to get a super off the same person, like, which you should never do, right? Never let 2 people charge off you. But if someone else lets 2 people charge off them, then they can be a pretty easy backstab early on. All right, so now we got the beginning. Now in the mid, it really the mid game. It's really going to depend on how many Primos there are. If there's a lot of Primos, then the mid game you typically just spend opening up the map. And what this is going to do is basically it's to make the end game easier. Because you're going to have a lot more room to maneuver. So that's typically what the Primos do. I didn't really see that last week, 2 weeks ago, but when I was pushing, I saw that people were doing that a lot. They would start breaking open the map. And yeah, it is pretty helpful. It does make the end game a bit easier. So that's one thing that people start doing. If there's less Primos, the mid game, you're really going to spend that time killing the brawlers that are not Primo. So if there's some randoms, like this Brock or whatever, after you clear matchmaking, you're going to get these wacky picks. All right, you're going to spend that time, and that's how you're going to that also allows you to make up power cube differences. So if let's say you didn't get a good amount of cubes, then you can make that up by getting kills. Okay, so you kill all the brawlers that are not Primos. And yeah, and after that, then you can break open the walls. And now we're gonna get to the end game, which is by far the most important part. because having a good end game can be the difference between you getting 8th, depending on how many primos there are, obviously, or first, right? And really, your goal should really be getting top 5, because top 5 at 1200 is only -2, right? It's not really that big of a deal. It's okay to get a 6th every once in a while when you're pushing 1200, but you really need to make sure you're getting top 5, especially if you're not clearing. If you haven't cleared, then forget about winning. Of course, you'll take it when you can get it, but it's going to be very difficult to win consistently. So top 5 until you can clear those primos out of matchmaking and get that down. So now, when we're talking about the end game, especially on this map with the mushroom modifier. All right, you do not want to be wasting your super immediately. Okay, whoever starts it, doesn't matter if you start it or someone else starts it, whatever. You do not want to be the person taking the full brunt of the blow. So if someone decides to super or whatever, you do not want to be you. Okay, if you get supered immediately, you're probably gonna die first. Okay. All right. So when things start going haywire, okay, you want to try to avoid. I know this is gonna be difficult, and again, like, this is not gonna be very easy to win consistently, right? I don't think there's a way that anyone can say that they can get first place every single time. It's pretty difficult to do, but there are different strategies you can do to make sure that you stay alive for as long as possible. So again, that initial backstab, but whoever it does it, even if it's you, try to stay away from that. All right, you can use your chucking gadget to chuck primos that are near you into other primos. Right, you're gonna want to make sure that you stay away from the chaos as much as possible, even if it means going into the poison. All right. All right, but at the same time, you do not want to stay into the poison too much. For as much as possible, you want to stay inside the circle, okay? Because if you can stay inside the circle, that means you're not going to be taking that poison damage, and especially since poison now stacks, any second that you can stay inside is going to really help. So even if you go into the poison, right, if you see an opportunity to get back into the circle and then jump back out, take that, because that's going to reset the poison tick. And so you're not going to be taking that, 1200, 1300, 1500 damage. Okay. All right. So that's very important. If you want more strategies, actually a better video would be watch my rank 33 video, because in that video I have more primo heavy lobbies, and so you can see my strategies that I use there. And again, you're not going to be getting first place consistently. It's just there's so many primos, so many variables. But hopefully that can help you survive. And the next part to the puzzle is the mushroom, the mushroom modifier. Okay, taking advantage of the mushroom is super key. If you can get into the poison with a mushroom, that's going to negate pretty much all the damage that you take from the poison, which allows you to stay in the poison longer. Okay, so if you see a mushroom, okay, feel free to just walk into the poison, because you're not going to take damage, and of course the poison is going to increase in damage. So if you can, obviously, you get back into the mid, but then if you have mushrooms, you just chill. Everyone fights it out in the mid, right? I believe in a game in my rank 33 video, I just walked into the poison, I had a mushroom, I just sat there and chilled and waited, and then at the final second, you want to wait to the last possible second when you're in the poison, and then you use your super to jump into the mid. All right, so you want to wait till the very last second to use your super. All right, and if you've done a good job surviving in the end game, chances are the person that won the mid is going to be pretty low. Obviously, because he's fighting like 12, like all the other primos, and you should be able to at least get top 5. Right? Again, the goal is top 5. Right? I'm not going to say that you're going to be able to win first place every single time using that, but you should be able to get top 5, hopefully. And of course, things can go wrong. Like someone can just super you, right? Someone can just hard target you, and there's not really much you can do in that situation. So, but hopefully that can help you. And again, as you flesh out matchmaking, it'll less primos, it will become more easier to win consistently as there is less primos as you go along. All right. The next thing I should mention is counters. Okay, so the two main counters for Primo is Shelly and Surge. Okay, Surge, the way you deal with a Surge is by wasting his super. Okay, if you can get a Surge to waste his super, you can then use your super to jump on him and make sure you have the speed star power And after you use that speed star power, the Surge cannot teleport because of that speed. You can catch up to him, and you were able to get that kill on the Surge. All right, so against Surge, you want to waste the super of the Surge. So if you get in the close range with Surge, right, make him waste his super, and then you use your super, and then use that speed star power to catch up to him when he teleports. And that's how you're gonna do with Surge. Okay, against Shelly, by yourself, you're not going to be able to do much against a Shelly. Okay, to take out a Shelly, you're going to need the help of other Primos. And the reason why is because the only way you're going to be able to counter Shelly is if you get her to waste her super. But if she's a smart Shelly, doesn't waste her super, there's really not much you can do. So you're going to need help from other Primos. And if you have other Primos, you basically just take turns just supering the Shelly, doing a little bit of damage, but not enough where she can actually do anything to you, right? You super, do a little damage, back off, the other Primo goes in, like that. And honestly, if Primos are working together, you can kill pretty much any brawler in the game, but individually, Shelly's going to be tough for you. And also, a lot of times, Primos tend to be very scared and do nothing, so that's not very helpful. Like, I believe in this first replay, like, we were dealing with a Shelly, and the Primo in the mid could have killed a Shelly, but he didn't, you know, so it's what happens. People just don't want to do anything. And it ends up hurting all the Primos, because if you don't kill the Shelly early on, she's going to be a pain for you in the end game. Like you can see in the end game, the Shelly's just by herself, and everyone's trying to avoid the Shelly. Like if you take out the Shelly early on, it's going to be such a big help, but no one wants to do anything, so that's just what it is. But now finally, for the Primo 1v1, all right? The Primo 1v1, use your range. The Speedy Star Power is going to help in the Primo 1v1 because it's going to give you range, and also the Chuck, okay? Chuck people into the poison. As we would do here, check this out. It's going to be a very good Primo 1v1 right here. Effectively using our range, chucking the Primo back, and there we go. We're able to win that 1v1 there for the final game for the rank for 35. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Let me know what brawlers you want to see me push next. I can't guarantee that I will, but I'll definitely take a look at it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And peace.
But to you, I bet I'm not worthy. I'm not worth the time. I'm not worth the space. Only place I belong is maybe like outer space. Infatuated with your purity, girl. I just wanna take